Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bible Fiber, the weekly podcast where we have been exploring the 12 minor prophets, 2 reformers, and 1 exile. The podcast aims to connect the stories of modern Israel to ancient Israel. And this week, we are taking a break from our Ezekiel study because I have a special guest with me. Omri. I met Omri recently at the National Religious Broadcasters Convention, and I was super intrigued by a new project that he is starting, and I thought Bible Fiber listeners would be as well. He is the CEO of Temple Mount Soil. Yes, you heard that right. Temple Mount Soil. So, first, Omri, welcome to the show. And can you tell us a little about your background and how you became involved with the Temple Mount?
Absolutely, Sherry. First of all, thank you for hosting me, and for everybody that's listening, taking their time, to hear me. So my background is, I would say, completely different to what I'm doing now. So I come from a technical background. Over the past 7 years, I've been a partner at a venture capital VC in Israel, focused on early stage startups. And within the past 3 years, I've been doing some venture building, investing and building our own companies in the Gulf area. And before that was also a CEO of a startup. So basically doing tech in different ways, from product, marketing, managing. So that's me in a nutshell.
Can you tell our listeners, though, first, with there would be no Temple Mount Soil Company if there wasn't the Temple Mount Sifting Project. So tell them about the Temple Mount Sifting Project and how that connects to what you're starting.
Yes, I mean, the temporal shifting is really where everything started. And to do that, we need to take time machine some 25 years ago, 26 now. Back in 99, the Waqf, the Muslim sovereign of the Temple Mount and the Al-Aqsa Mosque, they excavated some 5,000 tons of soil from that place. It was unsanctioned, unauthorized. And they dumped it over the Kidron River. Um, Basically, detaching it from where it was at the Temple Mount. And it was done over 1 or 2 nights, really, really quickly, really fast. Um, the story was that they were doing some excavation. They were taking soil out of the place to build some fire exits of some sorts. In any case, it was a lot of truckloads of soil that was dumped, and at that time, Zaki Dvira, which is now the CEO of the Temple Mount Sifting, was an archaeological student with Dr. Gabriel, and he got a word that the soil from the Temple Mount is being thrown. So he being an archaeologist, he went there. He basically had a hard time getting the soil, even though it was dumped. And he took a few buckets, and he found some, I think he found 3 coins or something like that. So he realized that yes, this comes from the Temple Mount, and you have to think about it that up until now, nobody at the modern age has done any excavation at Temple Mount for all the known reasons. Even nowadays, it's not allowed to excavate soil from Temple Mount, and it was done on 1 occasion. Um, so he was working with the Israeli authorities to get a license to actually do the sifting, right? Because the excavation was already been done. Um, and I think it's probably one of the few projects in the world that you sift through something that was excavated and detached from its origins. Um, I would say, in a way, that was not archaeology, right? I mean, you would have to use a toothbrush to do what if you want to dig, and that was done with machineries and whatnot. So it was a whole lot of mess around the timing and the layering, um, and they ever since then, I think it was 2004, they've been sifting through that um, a lot through that 5,000 tons of soil. Um, and they've been doing it in a very fascinating way. It's done not in a lab, it's done in an outdoor place where volunteers, people like you and me, go and sift through the sand. And if you haven't been there, you really have to imagine sort of like, an Indiana Jones sort of like experience, right? Because you get a bucket, and there's a net, and you throw it in the bucket, and then you wash it with water. It's called wet sifting. And then you just you wash things, and if you find either whether it's glass, material, whether it's metal, you find and you catalog it and put it in its own bucket. And they have found over 600,000 artifacts from Temple Mount, from the first temple, the second temple, um, and an astonishing amount of artifacts.
Hmm.
Just 2 weeks ago, we were filming there with Dr. Randall Price and Zaki, and we took a bucket, a random bucket, and we found a coin. And I mean, you should have seen how, I mean, we were all, excited like kids, right, in a candy shop. It was amazing. I mean, and you have to, Dr. Randall Price has done this before, has found a lot of artifacts, Zaki for sure. And it's still, when you find something of importance and of history, it sparkles something in you.
Hmm.
Um,
I followed the
and
work pretty closely of
mm,
Frankie, who was able to reconstruct the geometric design and flooring of the
oh,
second temple based off of
yeah,
what was found through the sifting project. So yeah, some
yeah,
really incredible stuff that otherwise, like you said, it's a real black hole of knowledge. We know what Josephus said. We have some general ideas about what the second temple looked like, but in terms of interior design and things that you usually learn from archaeology, we don't really know other than
yes,
what we've learned through the sifting project.
yeah. Yeah, and the findings are amazing. I mean, they found mosaics and they found obviously coins and pottery and tools, astonishing stuff.
Hmm.
And it hasn't been really displayed yet because really the hard work is ahead of them. In order to present something in a museum, you have to write a piece, about that before you can display it. Um, and they're doing that right now, and we help with that. So that's kind of like something that we're very proud of.
Hmm. Yeah, one thing that's about so I'm an archaeology student, and I when you're describing wet sifting, I do not feel like it's very Indiana Jonesy. I am I feel like wet sifting is really backbreaking, laborious work, even though you make these interesting finds. So my whole thing is that archaeologists are often poor writers because they want to be out in the field discovering, and they love wet sifting. They love what they do. And so that is how I always felt like I could kind of complement the field, is that I love to write about this stuff. I love to sort pottery. I love to study it. And they're chronically behind on their publication records. So yeah,
Yeah,
helping move that along is something that all archaeologists would value, you coming alongside of them. Well, but how do you specifically connect to the sifting project then? If you were a guy from high tech, I mean, how do you become involved
yeah,
with an archaeology project in Jerusalem that
yeah. And there's a story in it. Um, so back in 2019, um, a friend, a colleague, a partner now, in business. We've been partnering actually before that. He sold one of his companies that we invested in, and he started reading about Jerusalem. He had some time. He was looking, about what he's going to do next. And he started reading about Jerusalem, and he read about the Sifting Project, which I have to say, not a lot of people in Israel know about. I mean, the people
mm,
that I speak with, 9 out of 10, they don't really know of, which is a shame, because I think it's important to know what they do. In any case, he started. He read about the Sifting Project. He went there with his kids, but very excited, and he is a genius, right? He's got all these crazy ideas, and he was thinking. He spoke to Zaki, got friendly with him, and he understood that the sifting project itself wasn't really heavily funded. They got some funding from the government. They do get funding from donations, and he was offering him a way of like combining commercialization of the sifted soil, being that it's so important to all religious actually. Um, and archaeologists being archaeologists, like we described, they were focusing on the digging, right? On the science behind it. So Zaki said, I love you very much and I like you, but you're not the first that was offering that. You're not going to be the last. We don't want to do it. We don't want to get into the commercialization. It's too complex for us. And Giora, my partner, just like kept on good relationship with Zaki, and we dropped this. I mean, he told me about the project in 2019. I got very excited about it. But then, we took the no. I took the no as a no, and if you have to know Giora, no is just a starting point to a yes. Sort of like with my kids, the no is just a beginning. So he nurtured the relationship with him and stayed in touch. And I think in October 24, we read a piece that Zaki wrote about the government funding being cut off and donations not as high as they used to be. And we approached them again, said, you know what, Zaki, the offer still stands. We feel that there is a way to combine commercialization around the soil, but also keep the heritage and the respect and ways to fund what you guys are doing. Really take them from a surviving mode to thriving mode. So we offered a way that really is respecting of the heritage, the soil, the story, and in a way also combining in a commercial products that we sell, and then a big chunk of what we make from the sale goes back to the sifting project as donation to help them, keep on doing what they're doing. So it was sort of like that was what we did with them, and we started working on that, project, and we've built a website and we've created beautiful products around that. Each of those products, they come with a certificate, right? That is signed by Zaki and Dr. Gabi. It's numbered. It's numbered in a double way, so you actually know that this is authenticated. You can check it online, and you can even register this product under your name. So you go on the website and you punch in the 7 numbers and then the verification numbers, much like you do with credit cards, and you register the product on your name. So we kind of feel like it's not just a keepsake. It's something that you cherish, you take with you, sort of like a legacy that you start. Um, it's an asset, right? And the amount of soil that's left is limited. It was done only once. It's never going to happen again. I think now it's a punishable offense in Israel to dig there. And so we found a way, I believe, to find a way to really keep that heritage in place. Every product comes with a booklet about the Temple Mount, the history, the finding. So it's important for us to make sure that it starts a conversation owning that piece of the land, right? It's
And when
not
you
just
talk
something that
about
you.
products, it's a small jar, like a perfume
It's
bottle almost, with
Yeah, it's a
Temple
pendant.
Mount soil.
It's a pendant that you wear. Um, and we've got another product which we call the classic gift set. That's a more bigger, like a perfume size bottle. It comes in a very premium packaging. It really is meant to be displayed, so you can keep it either open or closed. Um, the certificate it's very prominent there, and the booklet itself. So it's something that you should feel proud. We believe that we should feel proud of having um, in your home for display.
Is it about an ounce of soil, or how much soil comes in each of these packages?
It's kind of like I think 20 grams in the
Mm-hmm.
display set in the classic gift set. It's a 15 by 15 centimeters package, two doors, really really premium around it. And there are other products that we're working on. So we're starting with those two. There's another necklace that's coming out pretty soon because we realize that people the pendant is very religious, something that you wear on you. Um, but we got requests from people saying, how about if you can incorporate it in a more jewelry kind of like, necklace. So that one's also coming out. Um, and we've just started, right? I mean, we've done everything quickly. We've built the company, the messaging, everything around it. And we're shipping it right now. So we've got people that have bought it already through the website.
Mm-hmm.
We've got pastors that are taking it and using that in their fundraising processes
Mm-hmm.
as donors' gifts. We're really proud of it.
In some ways, I mean, this is obviously a completely unique idea to take the soil from a holy site that's already been sifted and already mined for all of its information that it can tell us about the time period that it came from. But it's also not that new of an idea, in that Christian pilgrims have been going to the Holy Land for since the time of Jesus and getting little jars of water from the Jordan River, or being sold little scrapes of wood and told that it was
Yep.
shards from the cross. So in a lot of ways, like, taking something connected to the Holy Land back home with you is also a long-standing pilgrimage tradition, right?
Yeah. Like I said, the idea is not new.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that now you can own an authenticated, right, stored from Temple Mount is the exciting part. Um, it's sort of like in a way creating a physical connection and a bond to people that have been and to many people that cannot be. So, we get to our support email requests and questions and thank you notes from people that, they told us like, we can never go to Israel for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a way for us to really connect and I think even one said solidify the faith in a way that, tangible way to hold that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we feel that if we get those feedbacks, then we've done our part. That's the idea. In my imagination, I mean, learning about the Temple now Mount now. Obviously, I mean, I'm really in that. Kind of like baffles me how. I mean, in my imagination, in every city, in every town, you should have the show, right? You should see. Um, Artifacts from Temple Mount, from its history. It is so religious. It has so many meaning and profound history and stories. So that vision, I mean, if we can help with that, in a year or 2 years, if there's a show that you can go and see and really connect to those findings,
Mm-hmm.
we've done our piece.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious, are the majority of people who have contacted you, who have purchased the product, are they Jews or Christians?
Um, Mostly they are Christians. Yeah. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think it speaks more in a way. Like you said, with the history, with the fact that there were pilgrims coming in and out, it sort of like, echoes different. Um, and we've got also from Jewish, the diaspora, so they were like,
Mm-hmm.
again, interested. I think they they look at it in a different way. So like, remembrance, it's a way for a connection to a place, that they cherish. But I would say the majority are Christians.
Had you, in your previous life, had you interacted with Christians in any, like, meaningful way in this way, or is this all new to you too?
It is so new, and really thank you for bringing this up because, traveling to Saudi, right? I don't really announce being an Israeli, nor do I announce being a Jew. for all the obvious reasons. And that was my, my day to day. Coming to NRB was an experience that was so profound. Um, I would go as far as say even life changing, in a way. You read what you read in the media, right? About the US, about Christians, about relationship and whatnot. But to be there and to feel the warmth and the welcoming and the support that we need, that we so need right now, was something out of the ordinary. I've never felt this. I was never, as a Jew, I was never surrounded in such warmth and welcoming, dare I say, brotherhood even, in a way. And it got me thinking, um, I also checked it with friends, right? With my friends, and like, it's not known, the support that we have. There's always I don't want to go into politics, but there's always the politics around it. Um, but to meet people and really to see that in their eyes, in the way they talk, in the way that they speak, and the help that they offer, around the help and the support and the connection, it has changed me. It has got me thinking differently about even my heritage. Just working in this project got me to think differently about Temple Mount, and getting deeper and understanding the history, the heritage, the stories in ways that I haven't done before.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of like, my wife told me she's very supportive of this move, and she was like, explain to me, how are you moving from, the VC position and everything, very, comfortable, relaxed, known. And I told her, like, I can't really explain. There is something in it. I started by helping Giora on that. And 2 weeks into that, I told him, I have to find a way to be involved. I have to find a way to be involved. I didn't know I was gonna, gonna be sucked in as the CEO and running this. Um, but it feels like, you know, doing something that is good, that is really creating good in the world, really is. I don't know how to explain it even. It's something
Mm-hmm.
different. I've built businesses, sold them, exited them, all about technology, helping people, yeah, touching people.
Mm-hmm.
But this feels different. At NLB was the first time that I got, a few samples and, presented them. And the feedback was wall to wall, very emotional. I had a few with me, and people really wanted, even they're like, can we buy this off you right now? And I was like, no, but I promised to give you at the end of the show. And I really took notes, and I went to people and I gave them all the samples that I had. And you could see it in their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And it really, I mean, after a long career, if I can do that, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's become a passion.
Mm-hmm. And does any of it have to do with just also living in a post October 7th world? I mean, you started this
Oh,
around exactly a year after October 7th.
yeah.
Did that have anything to do with it?
I believe it has. And it also, and again, starting when I start something, I immerse myself in it. I try to, like, understand. I read about it, and reading about the history, about obviously what happened in October 7th is, it's changed everybody's life. Um, and being able to now be there, talk about, promote the heritage, the history, the undeniable connection that we have to this place, right? Um, so yes, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm not going into the politics of it. I'm not. There's
Mm-hmm.
like I shy away from this. Um, but for me, it's a proof, right?
Mm-hmm.
Both that we were here, we are here, and we're gonna be here. Despite of all the problems and the hiccups and the whatnot that we experience. Um, so yes, it has. I'm sure it has. I mean, it's like, the fact that you look at things in I would say in a more emotional way, in a
Mm-hmm.
more like, it's less logic now. It's less you know doing bigger and better. At least for me. So
Well,
definitely.
it sounds like Jewish pride. I mean, it sounds a little bit like what a lot of American Jews experienced after October 7th, which is a resurgence of Jewish pride in the face of like something so
Mm.
awful, you know? Well, I am headed to Shiloh in 2 weeks.
Oh,
And, technically, and we wet sift there as well. That's what I will be
yeah.
doing for 2 weeks. And technically, that's where the tabernacle was for 300 years before it moved to Jerusalem. So, that could be your phase two, is having a Shiloh soil project.
Could be. Yeah. I would love
No.
to meet you, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely. Well, I'll tell you,
yep.
there's something special in the soil there as well. Well, Omri,
Yep.
thank you so much for being on the show. This is really fascinating, and I'll provide a link in the show notes to your website and to images of what this looks like. I was able to see your sample at NRB, but I'm sure other people would love to just see what it looks like and imagine how they can incorporate it into their life. But I do feel like for a lot of Jewish people that Israelis, I mean, that don't interact with American Christians that often or American evangelicals that often. What I am hearing a lot, especially after October 7th, is just it's almost like we're the little brother that's always loved the big brother, and the big brother's just now noticing, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm happy. I mean, if something pure and beautiful can come out of this awful tragedy, I hope it's that that Israelis really know that they're Christians love and support Israel and want its safety and protection and see it as critical for the safety and protection of America too. And
Yeah.
anyway, so wishing you
Yeah.
and your family all of the blessings in the world.
Thank you so much. I couldn't have said it better, but the brotherhood, the feeling, the warmth of everything. It's not America, it's Americans for me. And it's different. And I'm a big ambassador now of what I've seen. And I tell it to everyone that's open to listening. It's like it's a different world out there.